welcome back to the Golden Circle Homestead. I am Amanda, and I am driving to work, and on my long commute, I figured I would have a little talk with you, maybe do like a car talk, and today I wanted to chat about a particular topic that has been floating around in different like Facebook groups and forums and things like that. And I know that it's a concern for a lot of you who want to homestead or are currently homesteading and are dealing with this concern. And that's money. So like how to homestead without money, how to make money on the homestead. And so I just kind of wanted to talk through some things with you and share some of my thoughts. So first, let's talk about how to homestead with no money. So I personally look at money as a resource, and if you're homesteading, a big part of homesteading, it's not like just buying a bunch of acres, getting a bunch of livestock, having chickens, having a garden, like that's all great. But homesteading is more of a mentality and a mindset, and until you get to that place, it's better to hold off on some of those more expensive things. And since money is a resource, just like time is a resource, for us, water is a resource, where if you're on city water, you have not had the lovely joy of seeing money or seeing as water as a resource, unless maybe you live in California and you're dealing with droughts and things like that. So it's really about figuring out how to manage your resources. And so if you're looking at homesteading as something that you really want to do, either because it's a hobby and you're just really interested in the idea of like having chickens and goats and having a garden, then you need to budget for it like a hobby. And if you're looking at it more from a value standpoint, then you're going to make more of a concerted effort to budget for it. So basically the short answer is yes, sometimes it costs money, but you have to budget for it, and you have to figure out how to manage your resources, manage your current income streams to be able to afford homesteading. That doesn't mean that you can't end up making money in a way through some of the things you're doing. For example, you're going to have to buy chickens, you're going to have to buy chicken feed if you don't already have chickens, assuming that this is a conversation where you're just getting started into homesteading, you don't have chickens yet. So it's going to cost money to get chicks, it's going to cost money to get mature hens, and at that point it's going to cost, there's supplies, there's feed, there's a bunch of different things like that, and you are going to have that upfront cost, but that doesn't mean that you cannot end up selling eggs or breeding chicks and selling chicks. Like, there are things that you can do to kind of make up for some of that cost, so that is part of the consideration. But if you're coming from a standpoint of you don't have money to budget for homesteading, then I think that it's really looking at your resources, looking at what's your income streams, what's coming in, what's going out, seeing how you can flex and make room to add homesteading as a budget line item. And if you still feel like you can't do that, then it's not the greatest answer, I know, but I mean, you have to up your income. That's true with anything that you want to, add a budget for. And quite honestly, it's an important practice to get in the habit of not just budgeting and managing your resources for homesteading itself, but also as a homesteader, you have to look at a ton of different income streams to be able to have additional revenue coming in. And so this gives you an opportunity to practice that. So I would say start small, and don't don't expect to need a bunch of money. There are tons of things you can do to like prepare yourself for homesteading and to get in the right frame of mind for it. That doesn't cost any money. Like, quite honestly, a huge part of homesteading is at this point of the game, like where we're so far removed from homesteading in society, we're like working our way back. We have to relearn a bunch of things. We have to relearn skills, lost arts, just a lot of stuff that you probably don't currently know. And so it doesn't cost money to go on YouTube and listen to some YouTube videos or read some books or listen to an audiobook, some podcasts. There are a ton of educational resources out there, and dive into them and just grow your knowledge and expand, and then just start chipping away at things little by little. Ask for a water bath canner for Christmas. Like, there are ways to kind of like go about it strategically. Don't just jump all in. Do not feel like you need a bunch of acreage and a bunch of animals and a huge garden in order to homestead. It's really, really, I cannot stress it enough, a mindset. And if you are only interested in the tangible acreage and livestock and garden, then it's going to be much more of a difficult journey to where you will be able to enjoy homesteading for what it is if you do not have these other skills in place, like managing your resources, like having multiple income streams, knowing and learning a bunch of educational skills for homesteading. If you're not already doing those, then acres and animals and gardening is just for show. It's not anything at the end of the day. So that would be my first step for those that are talking about, like, how do you go the homesteading route with no money? You have to figure out how to make the money, or start small, do things that don't cost money. When it comes to making money on a homestead, kind of already mentioned part of it, but the first thing is having multiple income streams. So don't say like, I'm going to sell eggs and that's it. That's how I'm going to make money. Don't put all of your eggs in that one basket. Do lots of different things. Expand your skills, expand your interests, and figure out if there's a way and an opportunity for you to make money off of that. If you're a musician, selling CDs, but don't have that be the only thing. Start looking at all of the different ways that you can utilize that skill to make money. Doing shows. Don't just do music, don't just do CDs, don't just do shows. Go over here and sell the X too. Like, expand, go across the whole thing. Utilize all of your homesteading resources as a steady income stream. The other thing that is super helpful is finding specific products or services that provide you with passive income. Now, passive income is basically you do the thing once and then people are consistently buying it and you don't have to worry about, regular upkeep per se. So something like this could be creating graphics on Etsy for baby shower games. Like, that's not something you necessarily have to update all the time. It's like a digital purchase. People are just buying it and it's just money in your pocket. You've already made it, you've already created it, and it's done. People are just buying it. So that's just one example. Another example could be if you really want to lean into like educational resources and teach, create an online course. And this is something that will have to get updated more frequently than something like the last example, but it's something that you don't have to update too often, and it is passive income. It's just coming in as it goes. So that is another perspective to look at making money on the homestead through. Lastly, I'm not going to dive into all of the ways you can make money on a homestead. There are so many. I have blog posts both on going into deeper dives on how to make money on a homestead, and also what to do if you don't have money. How do you start a homestead with no money? So I'll link those below in the description. But basically, there are so many examples of ways that you can make money, whether that is with selling honey or selling candles from the beeswax, or making herbal remedies and tinctures and skincare, and like the list just goes on and on. Baked goods. There are so many different things that you can make because you're making it for yourself. You're figuring out how to make products that you are not going to go to the store and buy anymore. So there are other people that are going to be interested in this as well. What can you share with them? How can you make their life better and more improved with higher quality products and services to even help them learn how to do it on their own? So yes, so I'm not going to go dive into a bunch of examples there, but there are examples and I will link them below. If you have any questions about this topic, I'm super interested and have a lot of ideas that I can share with you. Drop some comments below. I'd be happy to talk about it. Just to share a little bit from my own experience and what my family has gone through when it's come to homesteading. We did everything when we started off in Michigan, just from adding stuff into the budget. So having a budget for gardening, having a budget for updating things with the home, and just anything that would kind of fall into that category. We had a budget line item for chicken feed. The other piece of it is that when we were raising pigs, that was something that was ultimately part of our grocery bill in the end. So there's a little bit of a balance there. Same with chickens and the vegetable garden. There's some offset costs as a result of bringing in our own food. So that's one thing that we did. And then we ended up buying acreage as a result of looking at the current landscape of the housing market and knowing that we could get more for our home if we sold when we did, and so we would have a greater return in equity, and then that could go toward purchasing land. It also means being uncomfortable because we were living in a camper to save money. We were making just some difficult choices and some difficult lifestyle adjustments, and we were okay making them, and I wouldn't do it any other way looking back, but you have to be okay with being uncomfortable sometimes in order to save money, in order to get where you want to go. And that's a very necessary proponent as well. So I mean, as it is, we would love to have more livestock on our land, but right now it's just not in the cards because it's not in the budget, and that's okay. Like, I mean, it's not just about buying the animals, it's buying fencing and different shelters and all of these different things that take time and take money. Another consideration is that we chose a state that has a lot of communities set up for homesteading and a lot of communities that are interested in community, which is super important when you're homesteading. And in order to do that, I am working a job that is an hour and a half away commute, hence my drive time and our conversation today. But I'm driving an hour and a half because it pays good money, and along with that, it is, I mean, we could have gotten something closer, but we would have gotten less land, and it would have been a lot more. So we chose an area where the land was less expensive, where we could get good enough quality and, you know, decent acreage at a cheaper price. The other thing is that if it weren't for the fact that we were living off-grid and there were a lot of things we needed to establish in order to like live and survive, and also the fact that we were not able to find daycare for our kids, my husband would not have been a stay-at-home dad. He would have been working. And so now that everything is set and in order, we are a 2-income household, and we are both sacrificing in order to make that work. So while we are in this stage, we are buying our meat locally from a local farm. So it's organically raised. We know what we're eating. We're still staying true to our values. We are doing everything we can to manage our resources with water, which is challenging because the water that we're getting is all rainwater right now, and that's just because like we have long-term plans of having a well drilled, but we could not end up drilling a shallow well for ourselves on our own. It just wasn't working, and so we are going with the long-term plan of an actual sophisticated well, and that's going to take some time for us to save for. So in the meantime, we have again a community of people who are willing to share their well water with us, and we also are collecting rainwater. So we aren't, unless, you know, we go into the summer and we have droughts, we're not going to be tapping into their water at all. But for right now, we've been managing on rainwater alone, so it's a little challenging to share that water when we need it ourselves with our plants. So we're trying to weigh that right now, but we're doing what we can to grow our own vegetables and bring that in. And that doesn't cost a whole lot. We're utilizing our current resources. So do we have wood? What can you get on Marketplace for free? There are a bunch of different options that you can lean into. So looking at what is free around and utilizing that. I mean, we have a neighbor who gave us a bunch of wood. He gave us a bunch of like chicken wire and fencing, and so we've just been utilizing that, and we haven't had to go out and buy it. So what are some of those types of options for you? If you want more of this type of content, let me know. Give it a thumbs up, and yeah, subscribe if you want to be a part of our family and continue seeing all of our adventures. That is all I have for you today. I will see you in the next video. Bye!